Hey everybody, here's a first thing in the morning update on my native tank here. Got a crayfish scrabbling for safety. Real quick, while I'm looking at it, I want to point out this fish. One of my viewers yesterday pointed out when I'd put all the new fish in the tank, one of them was an eastern stone roller, this fairly large one right here. But my viewer pointed out that I had 2 or 3 that actually looked like eastern stone rollers, and this morning I saw this little one down here, and that is very clearly also an eastern stone roller. It's just a smaller one. So the tank is actually starting to shape up nicely as far as getting my algae control underway. I've got this crayfish that has both of its claws and several legs missing, so I'm assuming that one of the fish has been chomping at and attacking that. I'm down to very few minnows left. They've been disappearing at a rapid pace. If you can see my warmouth down there, there's the smallmouth bass right there. Let's take a look at him for a moment. He's a little more reclusive. We see the warmouth much more frequently. So this smallmouth bass does not look as though it's got an enormous fat belly on it. So while I'm sure it's probably had a few of the smaller minnows in this tank, it's clearly not getting skinnier, so I don't think I'm starving it in here. It is definitely finding food. But my little warmouth down there, I can't really call him that anymore. You see that dark fish down there underneath that piece of wood? He has a fat belly, and there is a lot less in the way of minnows in the tank. And I've been looking since I got up this morning. Here's 2 of those little crayfish. There's one against that rock in the back, and then the darker blue one with the claws, and then the one right up front here. And then I noticed this morning I also found that single claw right there in the corner. That's not from a slough, that's from an attack. The 2 little baby sunfish I put in the tank, someone else pointed out that they are probably in all likelihood green sunfish, and I concur. I was looking at them last night, and if you look at the fins, especially the anal and ventral fins, you can see that white tracery around them, and that is very indicative of the green sunfish. Beautiful fish, but well, we had them in here before and they ate everything in sight, so we've got some more of them in here. We've got these crayfish in here. Mine went blank for a second there. We've got these crayfish in here. We've got the 2 little green sunfish right there. There's both of them. And then we've got the warmouth, we've got the Mayan cichlid is still in here, and we've got the smallmouth bass. So there's a lot of predators in this tank now, and I would imagine this number of minnows we've got is going to dwindle even more. But fortunately I've got a minnow trap, and as I've said all along, fish are going to come and go through this tank fairly rapidly. So now that we've got some predatory animals in the tank, as I've said, the feel of this tank is going to change, and even the way I have to feed it and everything. So probably today I'll go throw my minnow trap back out. We'll leave that sit out overnight, and then tomorrow we can go down and see what we've got, and we can add a bunch more minnows or something to this tank. Probably not going to do any more crayfish right now. We've got lots and lots of crayfish in there. I will wait until I'm not really seeing crayfish anymore before we add any more of them. So any crayfish I do catch in the trap overnight, I can just use for bait as I go fishing tomorrow or something like that, or I can just throw them back in the stream and we can catch them another time. That's always a possibility too. At any rate, there's your brief morning update. Nothing really exciting going on, but we are losing minnows and crayfish fast, and we are definitely seeing some fattening up of my little warmouth back there. So as I thought, the warmouth is going to be every bit as problematic as either the green sunfish or as that smallmouth bass. So either that warmouth is going to have to go, or we're always going to have some sort of a predatory tank here, one or the other. And since I've grown quite fond of that warmouth, I'm not really sure how that's going to pan out in the long run, so we'll have to wait and see. At any rate, make sure you're subscribed. That way you won't miss any of the updates I've got coming up. You won't miss any of the changes that happen to this tank as time goes on. And then, of course, I've got all my other tanks. I just moved the tilapia out of this tank yesterday and put it into my 125, and so far it looks absolutely fantastic. Hopefully after another day or two we'll be able to determine whether its behavior is going to be suitable in there or not, but so far it looks like it's going to be just fine. So that's something you wouldn't want to miss either. So again, make sure you're subscribed and you won't miss any of that. Thanks again for watching this one. Don't forget, this is my native tank, and I'll see you real soon in the next one. Thanks again.